Miss Rabbit must be a clone, because 90% of the town's workforce is just her.
Every town needs a Miss Rabbit.
That's right.
Miss Rabbit is a train driver, a rescue helicopter pilot, a supermarket checkout worker, a librarian, a taxi driver, a train driver, a school bus driver, a nurse, a firefighter, and even a gift shop owner on the moon. We're not kidding. Miss Rabbit holds more jobs than the rest of the cast combined, and is single-handedly holding up the economy, public services, and possibly gravity itself. And what happens if Miss Rabbit takes a day off? The entire Peppa Pig universe collapses into chaos. So today we're breaking down all the clues that explain how she does it all, because she's either the most dedicated citizen in cartoon history, or something very weird is going on. Let's investigate. Let's start with the wildest explanation, but also the one with the most evidence. There isn't just one Miss Rabbit, there are clones. Think about it. How else could she drive a train, fly a helicopter, run a supermarket, sell ice cream, and still have time to host museum tours, all in one day? Every time she shows up, she's already dressed for the next job. Coincidence? Or maybe clones. And it's not just a theory. The show literally tells us. In the USA special, a 4-part adventure where Peppa and her family travel to America, we don't just see Miss Rabbit doing her usual juggling act. We see multiple Miss Rabbits at the same time, in different jobs, in different towns. In the very first episode, Miss Rabbit from England is flying the plane.
This is your captain speaking. We'll soon be arriving in America.
When they land, another Miss Rabbit is already there, driving a taxi, and they're on screen at the same time. Peppa's family is confused.
You're Miss Rabbit? Every town needs a Miss Rabbit.
It's the first official confirmation that these are not just different jobs, they are different rabbits. The taxi-driving Miss Rabbit doesn't stop there. In New York, she's suddenly doing a guided tour of the city, selling ice cream at the Empire State Building, and hiring out a motorhome to the family. This Miss Rabbit is just as busy as her clone in England. In the next episode, Peppa's family stops at a countryside diner. And guess who's cooking eggs, singing and dancing?
Oh, it's another Miss Rabbit. Yep, there's a lot of us around.
Then, in Canyon Country, yet another Miss Rabbit turns up, this time giving guided tours by helicopter and through the canyon caves. She's literally introduced with,
There's a lot of us about.
By this point, Peppa should be wondering if she's in some kind of rabbit-themed simulation. But the moment that proves this isn't just one hyperactive bunny doing every job on Earth comes in the final episode, Hollywood. When Peppa finally arrives at the television studio, the 4 Miss Rabbits from across the US are already there.
It is Miss Rabbit, Miss Rabbit, Miss Rabbit, and Miss Rabbit.
And then, the original Miss Rabbit arrives too.
Look, it's all Miss Rabbit.
All 5 Miss Rabbits stand together, identical, smiling, and absolutely real. It's no longer just a theory, it's canon. There are Miss Rabbit clones all over the world. Clue 2. Rabbits multiply. Okay, maybe we don't need to go full sci-fi. Because if there's one thing we know about rabbits, it's that they multiply. So what if the reason Miss Rabbit can be in so many places at once is because there are just that many Miss Rabbits? Not clones, not robots, just a giant bunny family. Let's start with what we do know. Miss Rabbit and Mummy Rabbit are confirmed identical twins, revealed in the episode Miss Rabbit's Day Off.
That'll be my sister.
So if there are 2 identical sisters, could there be more? Maybe loads more? And here's the weird part. In Mummy Rabbit's bump, Miss Rabbit is working at the hospital when Mummy Rabbit turns up clearly about to give birth, and Miss Rabbit says,
Hello, sister. What are you doing here? I'm having a baby, remember?
What? If they're close sisters, and we've seen them be close in episodes like Mirrors, where Miss Rabbit lovingly cradles one of the twins, how would she forget her own sister was pregnant? Unless that Miss Rabbit isn't the same one. One fan theory on Reddit suggests there are so many identical sisters and cousins that even they've lost track of what each other are doing. Imagine a whole extended rabbit family, identical in voice, looks, and work ethic, spread across the globe, casually running every single shop, ride, and vehicle in the Peppa Pig universe. It would explain why Miss Rabbit is always already in uniform, why she never seems tired, why she never forgets a job, but sometimes forgets her own family's pregnancy. So maybe it's not cloning, maybe it's just biology. And if so, it begs one very important question for the next clue. Why do the Miss Rabbits all seem so secretive? Clue 3. The spy theory. Okay, this one sounds like a movie plot, but it might actually be the most believable theory of them all. Let's rewind to the episode The Queen. In it, Miss Rabbit is honored for being
the hardest working person in the country.
Do you think the Queen hands out knighthoods to random supermarket workers? No, she's being awarded for something bigger. Miss Rabbit might be one of the top agents in the Queen's Animal Intelligence Network, and every job she takes is just a cover for a classified mission. Ice cream stand, surveillance post, helicopter pilot, extraction unit, recycling center, evidence disposal, gift shop on the moon, well, that one's obvious, space ops. Every time something dramatic happens in the show, Miss Rabbit just happens to already be there, ready, trained, and fully uniformed. That's not customer service. That's field ops. In fact, a fan theory from Reddit also suggests that all her jobs are part of an undercover operation. And just to make this theory even harder to ignore, the London episode drops an extra juicy clue. Madame Gazelle and Miss Rabbit have taken Peppa and her friends on a sightseeing trip to London. While they're figuring out what landmark to visit first, Miss Rabbit casually tells the kids,
My friend the Queen lives in London. Maybe she can help.
Wait, what? They turn up outside Buckingham Palace. Miss Rabbit rings the palace doorbell and the Queen answers immediately.
Oh, Miss Rabbit, come in, come in.
You don't just call up the Queen and turn up at her place unless you're very well connected, or you work for her. So maybe that Queen's medal wasn't for community service. Maybe it was a classified commendation for her best spy. But even a super spy can't be everywhere at once, right? Unless Miss Rabbit has figured out a way to be in two places at the exact same time. More on that in our next clue. Clue 4. She has a time machine, probably. Let's go full conspiracy for a second. How does Miss Rabbit get from space, to the supermarket, to the library, all in one day? A theory is she owns a time machine. In Miss Rabbit's Day Off, Mummy Rabbit and others try to fill in at every job Miss Rabbit has, but it's impossible to juggle driving the bus, serving ice cream, and ringing up groceries in the same day. And if you still think time travel is too wild, let's talk about the golden boots. In that special, Miss Rabbit casually runs a gift shop on the moon, seriously. And somehow later that day, she's already back on Earth, happily running her ice cream stall at the puddle jumping competition. Now, unless there's some kind of lunar express we don't know about, the only logical explanation is Miss Rabbit's got a time machine hidden behind her moon souvenirs. It would explain everything. She's got her own schedule, her own physics, and probably her own timeline. And here's the biggest piece of evidence yet. In the spin-off series, Peppa Pig Tales, there's an actual episode called Miss Rabbit's Time Traveling Machine. Miss Rabbit casually introduces Peppa and her friends to a fully working time machine, because apparently driving every vehicle and running every shop wasn't enough of a flex. The kids step inside and explore the age of dinosaurs. So, was this Miss Rabbit dropping a subtle hint to her real secret? Either way, while everyone else is on normal Peppa Pig time, Miss Rabbit is out here resetting clocks and jumping through wormholes so she can get to the library and put out a fire at the same time. Clue 5. She really does it all. Alright, this theory isn't wild or weird. Maybe Miss Rabbit really is holding the entire economy of Peppa Town together. Forget clones, spies, or secret twins. It's just her. Is she fueled by endless carrot smoothies? Is she secretly earning millions from every job? Or maybe it's pure rabbit adrenaline keeping her going. Whatever the reason, Miss Rabbit genuinely seems to love it.
Yes.
Why? Maybe because she's the only one who actually can. When she briefly stopped, everything came to a hilarious standstill.
Oh, what would we do without Miss Rabbit?
So whether she's a clone, a spy, a triplet, or just the world's most overworked rabbit, Miss Rabbit is the glue holding the Peppaverse together. Let us know your favorite Miss Rabbit moment in the comments.
Grandpa's little train goes choo-choo-choo all day long.
Did you know Peppa Pig is hiding jokes that only adults can understand? From Miss Rabbit working 25 jobs to a barbecue that's honestly kind of disturbing, Peppa's world is full of things that kids miss, but parents definitely catch. Let's dive into some hidden adult jokes you probably never noticed.
Don't splash us with water, Daddy.
First up, Miss Rabbit.
Miss Rabbit has fainted.
She's not just a bus driver. She's also a librarian, helicopter pilot, train conductor, ice cream seller, recycling manager, museum guide, and more. At one point, she literally runs an entire city by herself. Sound familiar? Yeah, Miss Rabbit might just be the ultimate millennial workaholic, juggling 50 side hustles just to survive. Forget Peppa. Miss Rabbit is the true relatable queen of the series. Someone please get her a holiday, or a therapist.
Miss Rabbit has fainted again.
Then there's the famous Peppa Pig barbecue scene. It looks innocent. Daddy Pig flipping burgers, friends gathered around. But wait a second. Who's at the barbecue? A zebra, a pony, a rabbit, a bull, and a pig. So what exactly are they barbecuing? Let's not think too hard about it. But if Daddy Pig is grilling pork or beef, this might secretly be the darkest cookout in cartoon history. And nobody even blinks. In the Halloween episode, Madame Gazelle looks in a mirror, but she has no reflection. Even the narrator points it out.
That's odd. Madame Gazelle doesn't have a reflection in the mirror.
She also casually mentions that SUZY Sheep's vampire costume reminds her of the olden days. Wait, is Madame Gazelle an actual vampire? If so, how old is she? And more importantly, how many PDA meetings has she survived over the centuries? The real horror story isn't vampires. It's parent-teacher conferences. Every time Daddy Pig jumps, the entire ground shakes. You might think it's just cartoon physics, but seriously, if an adult human made the earth tremble just by hopping, there would be scientists involved. Seismologists, evacuations. Daddy Pig might actually be a walking natural disaster. Maybe that's why their house is always built on a hill, to survive the daddy quakes. Okay, here's something weird. Peppa Pig can talk, drive cars, and go to school. But ducks? Ducks are just ducks. Why are some animals fully sentient while others are, well, lunch? Imagine being a duck, seeing a pig drive past in a convertible, while you're stuck begging for breadcrumbs. It's basically Zootopia, but with way more inequality and way fewer explanations. In Peppa's world, wolves and pigs live side by side.
Hello, I'm Wendy Wolf. I'm Peppa Pig.
But when the wolf family visits, Daddy Wolf jokes about huffing and puffing and blowing their house down. Not funny, dude. That's a literal death threat where I come from. At least Daddy Pig laughs it off. But you know Peppa was locking her bedroom door that night. Have you ever noticed how often Grandpa Pig drives random vehicles without a single care in the world? Trains, boats, tractors, he just hops in and goes. No license checks, no safety tests, nothing. Grandpa Pig is basically operating heavy machinery based on pure vibes. If Peppa's world had a DMV, Grandpa Pig would probably be banned for life. Or maybe he's just that grandparent who thinks traffic laws are just suggestions. And then we have Mr. Skinny Legs. You know, the giant spider who lives in Peppa's house and is treated like a totally normal roommate. Everyone just accepts that a tarantula the size of a house cat roams free around the kitchen. Where's animal control when you need them? Even funnier, the humans, animals, keep giving Mr. Skinny Legs compliments, like he's a friendly neighbor instead of a full-on health hazard. In Peppa's world, spiders don't bite. They probably pay rent. So, yeah, Peppa Pig might be marketed for toddlers. But underneath the muddy puddles, it's full of overworked rabbits, ancient vampires, rogue drivers, shady barbecues, and spiders with tenancy rights. We probably missed a ton of hidden jokes and weird moments in Peppa Pig. So if you spotted something funny, dark, or just plain confusing, drop it in the comments. We love reading your theories, and who knows, we might even feature your comment in a future video. And hit like and subscribe for more cartoon secrets you'll never look at the same way again.
It's coming out. Whoa!
What if Peppa Pig's toys are alive? From Teddy constantly sneaking off on holiday to George's dinosaur desperately trying to rejoin his fossil family, these cuddly companions might be hiding secrets the show never explains. And the more you watch, the stranger it gets. So today we're diving into the secret life of Peppa Pig's toys, and you won't believe the clues hiding in plain sight. Let's begin. Peppa Pig's real sidekick isn't George or Suzy's sheep. It's Teddy. That little brown bear is with Peppa in almost every episode. She cuddles her, feeds her, talks to her, and in some episodes, things get so strange between them. You start to wonder, is Teddy actually alive? Because sometimes it doesn't even feel like Peppa is talking to Teddy. It feels like she's talking for her. In the episode Health Check, Peppa visits Dr. Polar Bear for a checkup, and she doesn't come alone. Teddy is right there with her, not as a toy in her arms, but as a full-on patient. And when the doctor starts asking questions about her eating habits, Peppa doesn't hesitate to inform Dr. Polar Bear.
Teddy eats lots of broccoli.
Now here's where it gets weird. Peppa doesn't say it like she's pretending. She says it like she knows. Like Teddy told her this exact broccoli fact. Because let's be honest, most kids barely eat broccoli themselves. So why would Peppa claim that Teddy eats loads of it? Unless they've had this conversation before. And if Teddy can talk to Peppa, then what else is she up to when we're not looking? Because next up, things get even stranger. Starting with the Pig family's trip to Italy. A 4-part adventure that feels less like a holiday, and more like Teddy's carefully planned escape. In Flying on Holiday, Teddy gets scanned at the airport, shares the window seat with Peppa, and Peppa even lifts her to enjoy the view, like she's sightseeing. It's sweet at first, until you realize this isn't how you treat a Teddy, it's how you treat a person. And from that moment on, Teddy starts acting like one too. Because when they land, she's gone, left behind on the plane. Was it a mistake? Or was it her first attempt to make a run for it? Either way, she doesn't stay missing for long. Just minutes later, as the family are driving to their holiday house, a friendly Italian police officer appears out of nowhere, waves them down, and hands her back.
I am returning this young bear.
But how did he know a bear was missing, that she belonged to Peppa, and exactly which car to stop? Either he's met Teddy before, or she's important enough in Italy to get a police escort. But the clues don't stop there. Because in the next episode, Holiday in the Sun, Teddy disappears again. The family stop at the village cafe for Uncle Goat's pizza. After eating, Peppa holds up Teddy and asks,
Did you like that, Teddy? Yes, it was delicious.
Peppa even pauses and nods like she's listening, then repeats the answer, as if Teddy just whispered it to her. A little while later, the family are back in the car, driving through the village. But something's missing. Teddy isn't in Peppa's arms anymore. She's still at the cafe. Was she forgotten? Or did she sneak off while Peppa was busy licking pizza off her fingers? And who brings her back? Again, the same friendly Italian police officer. And just when you think she's done, Teddy makes one final move. In the end of the holiday, the family is saying goodbye outside the holiday house. Bags are loaded, everyone's in the car. And as they drive off, the camera lingers for just a second. And there she is, Teddy, lying on the ground. The narrator even says it.
Oh dear, Peppa has forgotten Teddy.
But has she really? Or did Teddy throw herself out in one final desperate attempt to stay behind? And of course, like clockwork, the same Italian police officer returns her. It's almost like he's seen toys like her before. And the clues don't stop there. In My Birthday Party, Peppa unwraps a new dress for Teddy. And when Daddy Pig says he didn't know Teddy was a girl, Peppa answers,
Daddy. Of course Teddy's a girl.
It doesn't sound like a guess. It sounds like Teddy correcting her, with Peppa passing the message on. Peppa knows Teddy's favorites, her moods, and now her pronouns, because in their world, they're always chatting. Then there's the family computer. In the episode Mummy Pig's Book, Peppa and George play a chicken game on it. When they log in, we see all the usual names. George, Peppa, Mummy Pig, even Granny and Grandpa. But at the very bottom, there is one strange account, OOP. And the user's score? Awful. Like someone's been randomly mashing buttons with soft paws and zero coordination. Sounds a lot like Teddy, sneaking onto the computer after dark to try her luck. And some fans think OOP is a secret code. Maybe it stands for One Odd Plushie, Official Owner, Peppa, Only Operates at Playtime, or the most suspicious of all, Out of Place. Because let's be real, Teddy doesn't exactly fit in with the rest of the toys. So what does it all mean? Teddy doesn't just sit around looking cute. She vanishes, reappears, tries to stay in Italy, possibly eats pizza, maybe logs into computers, and apparently talks through Peppa like some fuzzy little mastermind. If any toy in that house is alive, it's her. But if Teddy's alive, what about George's dinosaur? Because that toy has secrets, and we're getting to the bottom of it next. George doesn't say much, But whenever he's excited, scared, or even throwing a tantrum, the answer is always the same.
Dinosaur.
It's almost as if George isn't talking about the toy at all. He's letting the toy do the talking for him. Which makes you wonder, is George in charge of Mr. Dinosaur, or is Mr. Dinosaur secretly in charge of George? But more importantly, why do Peppa Pig's toys keep trying to escape? Seriously, where are they even trying to go? Is there some kind of secret toy hideout we don't know about? A plushie paradise? Maybe they're heading for the hills, Toy Story style. Because first, Teddy kept sneaking off in Italy, and now Mr. Dinosaur is at it too. A great example of this is in Mr. Dinosaur is Lost. George takes his dinosaur everywhere and loves throwing him up high. Then all of a sudden, poof, Mr. Dinosaur is gone. The whole family searches the bath, the bed, the entire house, until Daddy Pig finally spots him sitting up in a tree looking rather suspicious. The narrator says George threw him too high and got stuck. But could it be that Mr. Dinosaur used that big throw as a boost, landed in the branches on purpose, and was scoping out the neighborhood, planning his big dino getaway from up high? Mr. Dinosaur's need to escape is further cemented in the episode Mysteries. The family decide to play detectives and pick a case to solve. Peppa immediately suggests they could hunt for George's dinosaur.
That's always getting lost. Dinosaur.
The show basically confirms it. This toy disappears so often it's become a household fact. Not clumsy accidents, a habit of trying to escape. But one of the strangest moments comes at the airport. The Italy trip feels less like a holiday and more like a planned escape for Teddy. But also something strange is going on with Mr. Dinosaur too. In Flying on Holiday, George puts his bag through the security scanner. And on the screen, there's only one thing, Mr. Dinosaur. Then Peppa's bag goes through. And again, the only thing that shows up is Teddy. But just seconds earlier, Daddy Pig's bag was scanned and it lit up like a Christmas tree. Spare pair of glasses, toothbrush, and even a musical instrument. Because you never know when you might need to break into a beachside performance. Which raises the real question. What kind of toddler packs only one toy for an entire holiday? No spare pants? No snacks? Not even a toothbrush? Or were there other things in the bag, and for some strange reason, only Mr. Dinosaur showed up on the scan? So, what could be the reason? Maybe they're made of special materials, the kind that don't just make a toy, but bring it to life, the kind that airport scanners notice. It's almost like they're waving at the X-ray machine going, hey, we're the real stars of this trip. And if the airport scan wasn't enough proof that the toys are running the show, just wait until you get to the museum episode. George brings Mr. Dinosaur along and holds him up proudly in front of a massive T-Rex skeleton, declaring,
Dinosaur.
And sure, it looks like classic toddler fun until you look closer. The way George holds Mr. Dinosaur up, it doesn't look like he's showing him fossils. It looks like he's reuniting long-lost family members. Could this whole museum trip have been Mr. Dinosaur's idea? And he is using George as his ticket home. This isn't playtime anymore. This is Toy Story, Jurassic Edition. So is Mr. Dinosaur just George's favorite comfort toy? Or is he something else entirely, sneaking off, making moves, and plotting his grand return to the land of the fossils? So, how do we know if a toy in Peppa Pig is secretly alive? Let's break it down. We've collected all the weirdest, funniest, and most suspicious clues from the show, and now we're checking them off. If a toy ticks just 1 or 2 boxes, maybe it's nothing. But if they tick all 5, then we've got a serious case of a living toy on our hands. Let's check the list. 1. They have favorite foods, and we'll let you know about them. Teddy eats broccoli. Mr. Dinosaur loves spaghetti. Normal? Not really. 2. They travel in style. They get window seats, go on holidays, and somehow always make it back when they go missing. 3. They vanish like magicians. 1 minute they're there, the next they're gone, only to reappear with no explanation. 4. They show up on machines. Airport scanners spot them instantly, and they even leave their paw prints on the family computer. 5. They talk, sort of, through Peppa, through George. It's like they're using the kids to speak for them. Match one of these rules, and you might just be an ordinary toy. Hit all 5, you're not just a toy anymore, you're basically alive. And guess what? Teddy checks every single box. Mr. Dinosaur, he's not far behind. So, do you think the toys are alive or just very, very weird? Tell us in the comments. Drop alive or not alive, and share the one clue that convinced you. If you're into this mystery, keep going. Watch our other Peppa Pig theory videos next. The secrets only get stranger. Madame Gazelle isn't just Peppa's teacher, she's a vampire. We've seen the clues for years. No reflection, doesn't age, surrounded by bats. Garlic sends her running. Textbook Dracula. But here's the twist. If she's really a vampire, why hasn't anyone been bitten? Why are Peppa and all the children in playgroup still safe? The answer might shock you. Because someone is working behind the scenes, secretly protecting the kids. And it's the last person you'd expect. Mr. Bull. He's there fixing, guarding, even distracting. Almost like he's secretly keeping Madame Gazelle under control, or helping her keep her secret from being exposed. Could the town's loudest builder actually be the children's silent protector? Let's take a closer look at the clues, and you'll see just how far Mr. Bull might be going to keep Peppa and her friends safe. If there's one thing everybody knows about vampires, it's this. Garlic is their kryptonite. And in the episode Wildflower Wood, we finally see Madame Gazelle exposed. The episode begins with the class about to leave for a nature walk, but who is conveniently waiting outside with his lawnmower? Mr. Bull. Out of all days to cut the grass, he just happens to show up the exact moment the class leaves for their trip and joins them. Coincidence? Or was he waiting? Madame Gazelle leads the children through the woods, pointing out the flowers, when they stumble across something unusual. Wild garlic. Penny Polar Bear even says it smells like her mum's cooking. But instead of smiling, Madame Gazelle steps back and mutters,
"Some people cook with it. I don't like it much myself."
She doesn't like garlic, exactly what you'd expect from a vampire. And Mr. Bull is standing right there, watching the whole thing. The theory says this wasn't just luck. He was the one who planted that garlic in the first place, sprinkling it along the trail to weaken her powers. Why else would the town's builder care so much about flowers? Why else is garlic growing right where the class stops? Plants like that don't just appear overnight. Someone put them there. And who's always around soil, digging, and planting? Mr. Bull. Notice what happens next. The second Madame Gazelle admits she doesn't like garlic, Mr. Bull jumps in and shifts the focus.
Madame Gazelle, do you know which flowers make a tasty drink?
Distracting the children, almost like he's protecting them from putting two and two together. So the question is, was this really a nature walk? Or was it Mr. Bull's secret mission to keep the kids safe from their own teacher? And if he's already guarding them here, what other times has he quietly stepped in to protect them? One of the clearest signs that Mr. Bull might be protecting everyone from Madame Gazelle isn't in the classroom at all. It's right above it, the school roof. For some reason, this roof never stays fixed. Every time tiles break or the ceiling caves in, Mr. Bull is always there first. But what if that's not a coincidence? The theory goes that Mr. Bull doesn't actually want the roof completely repaired. By leaving cracks and gaps, he lets sunlight pour in during the day. And sunlight is one of the oldest vampire weaknesses. In other words, every time Mr. Bull fixes the roof, he's really making sure it stays just broken enough for beams of sunlight to creep through. And if Madame Gazelle really is a vampire, that means she's basically teaching playgroup under a giant spotlight. Turns out leaving holes in the roof isn't lazy, it's genius vampire proofing. Here's where things get seriously creepy. In the episode Madame Gazelle's house, her home is tilting because of a massive Christmas tree she planted when it was tiny. But now, it's taller than the entire house. The tree aged, but Madame Gazelle hasn't changed a bit. Suspicious, right? And who shows up again to handle things? You guessed it, Mr. Bull. He climbs the tree himself, even though he's usually the one shouting orders while his crew does the digging. Why suddenly so hands-on? When he reaches the top, he finds a colony of bats nesting in the branches. Most people would panic, but Madame Gazelle just smiles and says,
"Ah, my friends the bats. They remind me of the old country."
A place full of bats. Like Transylvania, maybe. But was Mr. Bull really just trimming a tree? Or was he making sure those bats didn't become her allies in the night? And if you think that's strange, wait until you see the next clue, because even Mr. Bull's marriage might be part of his plan to keep Madame Gazelle under control. Here's a twist you probably didn't see coming. What if Mr. Bull isn't working alone? Think about it. He recently married Mrs. Cow, and just like Madame Gazelle, she has a French accent.
Hello!
That's not a random choice. Could they both have come from the same old country? The very place Madame Gazelle hints at when she talks about bats reminding her of home? And there's more. Mrs. Cow works as a nurse and is part of the fire engine service. Out of all the jobs in Peppa's world, why would Mr. Bull choose a partner whose profession is literally treating injuries and rescuing people from danger? Unless he needed someone who understood the risks, someone who could act quickly if Madame Gazelle ever stopped hiding and started behaving like a real vampire. So here's the theory. Mr. Bull didn't just marry for love, he married for protection. A wife who shares a background with Madame Gazelle, who knows what she really is, and who can help him keep the children safe if things ever turn deadly. But this raises a bigger question. If Mr. Bull and Mrs. Cow are secretly working together, how many others in Peppa's town already know the truth about Madame Gazelle? If Madame Gazelle really is a vampire, then her biggest giveaway could be her teeth. And that's why, in the episode Mr. Bull the Teacher, it's so suspicious when she suddenly tells the class she has to rush off to the dentist in the middle of playgroup. For anyone else, that's a normal checkup. But for her, it looks more like a cover-up. Maybe a way to hide her fangs before the children notice. And right at that exact moment, who's hanging around outside the school? Mr. Bull. He's not fixing pipes or digging roads this time. He's casually mowing the grass. Builders don't usually do that. It's almost like he was hovering nearby, keeping watch, waiting for the chance to step in. But instead of teaching numbers or nursery rhymes, what does Mr. Bull do? He grabs a hammer and starts ripping up the floorboards. He claims it's just a squeak, but come on. He tears half the classroom apart. Was he really fixing wood or searching for something hidden under Madame Gazelle's school? And when Madame Gazelle returns, she doesn't thank him. She doesn't even ask about the kids. She tells him to put everything back exactly the way it was. Almost like she didn't want him uncovering what's really buried under that classroom. If Madame Gazelle really is a vampire, then her power should be terrifying. And in the episode Bat and Ball, we see it. She swings the bat once, and the ball doesn't just fly. It smashes into the school roof with enough force to leave damage behind. That's not a tired teacher playing games. That's vampire strength, hidden in plain sight. But here's the twist. What if she's not the only one hiding unnatural power? Because in Mr. Bull in a china shop, we see something just as shocking. Mr. Bull hauls a massive underground metal pipe, the kind that normally needs a crane, and hurls it aside like it's nothing. No machine, no crew, just one line from him.
I don't know my own strength!
That's not just muscle, that's something more. So maybe the real reason Madame Gazelle behaves is because she knows Mr. Bull is there. Garlic and sunshine are one thing, but raw power? He might be the only one strong enough to keep her in check if her vampire side ever took over. And if both of them are hiding this much, what other secrets are buried in Peppa's world, waiting to be uncovered? So there you have it. Maybe Madame Gazelle really is a vampire, and maybe Mr. Bull has been protecting the children all along. But what do you think? Is he secretly a vampire hunter, or just the unluckiest builder in town? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your theories. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit subscribe and check out our other videos. We've got plenty more Peppa Pig mysteries waiting for you. Thank you for watching.